Hey everyone, I'm Surya Ramesh, and this is
I'm John Joash Ravi. Then this is the podcast for Two Brown Accents. Today we're going to be talking about TV shows and music.
yes, TV shows and music. Let's get right into it. John, what do you think? What do you think? What is your favorite kind of music?
My favorite kind of music. I feel like it changes throughout like different parts of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think I'm listening to a lot of pop music, specifically Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, okay, okay. I've listened to one, two of her songs.
Yeah. Like I think her previous album, I always listened to like one or two songs, like "Good
Mm-hmm.
for You" and something else.
Right. Good for
But
you. Yeah.
now it's like her new album is like very like okay, maybe not even pop. I think her new music is a bit more like punk rock kind of
Sure.
stuff
Sure. Okay.
with a
Okay.
mix of pop.
Mm-hmm.
So like and like throughout my life, I think I went through like a punk rock phase and then like a pop
Okay.
phase. Very beginning, I had like a Christian gospel like
Oh.
that kind of
Okay. Okay.
because that was my upbringing, right?
Sure. Sure.
So like I
Sure.
listened to a lot of those songs, but
Okay.
now it's like most of the time it's like pop music and then punk
Mm-hmm.
rock and then like some other stuff.
Sure. Sure.
How
Sure.
about you? What are you listening to?
I am currently listening to a lot of Bollywood songs, just because I watched this one movie and then I got into a phase, and then I've just, the algorithm on YouTube Music and all the other music services are really good, and I just keeps getting me one like newer songs, and I keep doing more of that. But yeah, the movie I watched was
Rocky and Ronnie.
Rocky or Rani Ki Prem Kahani, yeah, and
Actually, those two songs, that two Bollywood songs from that movie, is also like I listen to that a lot. Wad Jumka,
What Jumka.
and then there's the other one. What's the other one?
The other one is I
The one
think
where he's like,
Dindora Baje.
yeah, and
The one where everyone's wearing red and
yeah.
it's the festival thingy. I usually don't like festival-y songs. For some reason, as a kid, I was not a fan, but I really do like that song.
Dude, like music, different types of music gives me so much energy, right?
It does.
And
It does.
that song in particular gives me so much energy. That introduction, it's just like so much like makes me feel so cool listening to it.
I know it's like so peppy. It's like the music you kind of listen to when you go to the gym, right? You listen to a lot of music that peps you up, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, I can do this. Oh, I'm so strong. I'm the
yeah.
strongest person in the world. Do you listen to music at the gym?
Yeah, I do. Like sometimes I don't, but most recently I've been listening to a lot of because it gives you that extra motivation to push harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like stay focused.
Yeah.
And like I just use music to like control my mood all the time, right? Like for example, like last night I was driving back really late at night, and if I wasn't listening to music at that time, I probably would be like way too tired to drive, right?
Agreed.
Like I'd
Agreed.
fall asleep at the wheel or something like that. But like when I listen to music, like I sing along to it, and it gives me so much energy, right? Not to gym,
Right.
but like also like it's a substitute for coffee for me.
Yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed. When I'm driving, when I'm especially when I'm going on long trips, I have a bottle of Coke just so there's a little bit caffeine in case I
Yeah.
start feeling a little tired. But I also have these superpowers, which is Ed Sheeran's "Shape of You." Whenever I play that song, I'm back on track. I'm ready to go. Like at least 5 to 10 minutes, I'll be like super energetic before which I can find an exit. Not that I've had to, but it's always nice to know that I have an extra superpower. Like even if I run out of Coke or something,
Yeah.
I will make it. I'll be safe. Everyone's gonna be safe. Everything's gonna be all right. Yeah. Um.
Okay, so here's the first thing I want to really talk about with music, right? Do you think people listen to music, like specific type of music, based on their mood? Because, or do you think it's the reverse, right? Like, so for example, let's say you're like going through a breakup, for example, right? Do you listen to a lot of Taylor Swift songs to like deal with it, or do you think it's like the reverse, where like like what we just talked about, right? We listen to music to get in the mood.
It's definitely a bit of both. I do think when you go through phases, you definitely start relating to more music that, the lyrics or the vibe of those songs, or you're going through a breakup, you start listening to breakup songs, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when, the lyrics are about like, oh, how they were together and things didn't work out. And you start thinking, oh, how we were together and how things didn't work out and
Mm.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
you like related to your life.
Exactly. And over the course of time, I've definitely had those phases. There's also certain music that's just like Ed Sheeran "Shape of You." When it came out, for some reason, I was listening to it 24/7 for a few months, and it always just made me happy. No matter how many times I listened to it, it would just make me happy. And
Shape of You, isn't that the one that goes? The club isn't the best place to find a lover, but the bar is where I go.
the club isn't the best place to find the lovers, so the bar is where I go.
Ooh, sing
Ooh,
it.
me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking fast, and
And we
we
talk
talk
slow.
slow.
Coming
Come
home
on,
or start a
I
conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance.
chance now. Take my hand, stop when the man on the jukebox,
Jukebox,
and
and
then
then
we
we start
start
to
to dance.
dance, and
No, I'm
I'm
singing
singing
like
like,
girl, you
oh,
know.
oh, you want
Okay,
that? Okay.
we'll stop. We'll stop. But we'll release a side video about us singing
we'll,
it.
we'll make a cover of that here next.
um,
Yeah, so like, do you take that like life advice to yourself? Like, do you try not to like meet people at the
no,
club?
no. I think that one specifically is just for the lyrics. Like at least the start part. I do think. Actually, I'd have to go through the lyrics before I make comments. But
I mean, we
I
don't
think the
we don't
start.
actually go to the club anyway,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's
I'm not a fan of the club. I do like bars better, so
sure.
there's that. But no, I think that's
I mean,
just.
like the club isn't like there's a lot of stuff going on there. Like I don't know how anyone meets anyone there.
I don't know.
Like it's like a lot of music and
Yeah.
like lights, like it's super dark, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. I go to clubs, I get tired. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Because talking is my strong suit, and in a club, I don't think, no matter how loud I talk, I don't think people can hear me anyways.
right.
I don't think I can hear people, so the conversation gets so much more trickier. I'm never a fan of clubs. Like if somebody wants to go, I'll go, but rarely. I try to
Sure.
rare, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think you definitely learn from songs. There's
You do.
from the lyrics, from the actors vibe. Even take out all the lyrics, the music, the vibe. I think each instrument has its own vibe.
Yeah. Right. Like you're not saying like not just the lyrics, but like even the melody.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because I listen to a lot of music, right? You said you listen to music at the gym.
Yeah.
I watch a bunch of anime, so I end up listening
Right.
to a lot of the soundtracks. And every time I listen to the soundtrack, it brings you back to that moment, right? It makes me imagine like whatever the fight that was happening in the anime, or whatever sad moment was happening, and it gives me I'm talking about it, I'm not even thinking about anything, it's giving me goosebumps right now. So I think
Like
music has that superpower of just taking you to different moments.
you're saying like when you're watching like an anime, like they'll play some background soundtrack to it,
Yeah.
and and anytime you listen to it when you're like driving a car or something, or you'll think back to that scene.
Right. And even if I'm not thinking about that scene specifically, let's say a specific character died, and so, I felt really sad when that happened and the music was playing. And
Yeah.
when I'm driving, if I listen to the same song, even if I'm not thinking about the exact same scene or the character's death, I'm still feeling sad because I think, especially when you watch a video and listen to the song together, it embeds that feeling to that song. And
Yeah.
maybe an easier example would be, there's certain songs that I listened to when I was a kid, and I used to listen to it all the time when I was a kid, right? For a month, maybe I had different phases. Randomly on the radio, if that song comes up,
Yeah.
I do start imagining those moments, and I'm like, oh wow, I was just in ninth grade, and I
Yeah.
used to listen to the song all the time. It brings back memories, and kind of it's a nostalgic, bittersweet feeling, right?
Right, right. Yeah, actually, I want to get to something in a moment, but before I do that, like going back to this, like like watching something and listening to something. What are your thoughts on music videos, right? So, like, have you ever like listened to something on the radio, but then later you're like, okay, let me watch a music video of that, and then suddenly like changes the whole like vibe of the song.
I know. Especially recently, I don't know what's happening to music videos. But yeah, a lot of songs are so good, and then I watch the music video and I'm like, oh, this is so, this is not what I thought
Yeah. Do you
the
have any
song would
examples
be.
of like of that kind of stuff?
Um, I mean, a lot of the recent videos, anyways, I feel are just, it's just a bunch of random people doing a bunch of random things, right? I don't even understand what's happening. But one of the videos that I can think of off the top of my head that I can give an example is, there's a song "Call Me Maybe" by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Right,
I
right,
think that's
right,
her
right.
name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The song is, I listened to that song
It's like
so
a
many
fun
times.
summer vibe
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I listened to that song so many times and it was so good. And I was watching the video, and in the video she's kind of flirting with this guy and everything, and it looks so cool. And at the end of the song, it just turns out, it's like, it would have been cool if she got his number, but instead, he's gay, and she's like, she's disappointed, and I'm like, oh my god, this was such a happy song. why do they have to end it in such a sad
It's like
way?
a love tragedy.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I would have really, the song's already super happy, makes me
Yeah.
happy. I would have just liked it if they got together because it's also just a song, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's a
yeah.
3 minute video, but I guess maybe different people liked it or something, right? Whatever the music,
Yeah, I mean, personally, I thought it was still pretty funny because it's like, oh,
sure,
like she's crushing on someone, and suddenly,
yeah.
he's not gonna be into her anyway.
I'm sad. I was sad. Yeah.
Sad for her, yeah. But yeah, it's a good point though, right? Like, you associate music with like different memories in your life.
mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. And like it also like somewhat influences you in a way too.
Right. It definitely does. I met two of my friends, and or I met two people who are now really close friends. But
Mhm.
when I started meeting them, they used to listen to very different kinds of music from me. I used to listen to all the popular pop songs.
Yeah,
Was pretty much it.
right.
But they used to listen to super the hardcore EDM or something like that. And they play it on the car when we're driving for 1.5 hours.
Yeah,
And these are super nice people, and I love these guys. Even though I've only met them for a few days, they're super nice, and I love talking to them, and everything's super fun. But I keep thinking, oh, I hate this
it
music.
sounds like you're in a club, right?
Yeah, exactly. I hate this music. As much as I like these guys, can I really hang out with them? How long can I hang out with them? Because like, what if I were to just get pissed off because I don't like this music, and I'm like, can you guys just shut up?
Yeah.
But over the course of time, actually, they don't listen to that much hardcore stuff. So yeah, it's
You can never tell, because like in my head, I have this like stereotype of someone who listens to a hardcore metal
mhm.
like screamo music,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But like they might be like the nicest guys, right?
I
Like
know.
one of my PhD friends, right? He like you would have expected him to listen to like,
Sure,
but then he would listen to like hard death metal, then he would listen to like Halsey on the side, right?
sure.
So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a dichotomy of like different types of music.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how people get into music. Some like it's like you start listening to something enough times, I guess you start liking it too. There's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody introduced you, or maybe you had a phase and it brings back memories, something like that. But yeah, it's very nuanced, if I want to say, right? Because I I don't really listen to rock songs, but I do have one or two rock songs that I listened to, I don't know,
Do you
10 years ago.
do you listen to music while you work?
Yes,
Because I do.
yes, I do. Um,
Sometimes like what depends on like how intense my coding is, right?
mhm,
I'll listen to different types of music. And
mhm.
sometimes when it's like I'm really chill, I'll literally will listen to piano covers of like popular music.
I do that. I do
Piano
that.
covers are so good.
I do that. I Piano and violin covers for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do. I love that duet. Those two instruments are the best.
yeah.
But yeah, I listen to a lot of instrumentals. It's so weird. For some reason, as much as I like the song, I feel like maybe instrumentals are there's just
Emotion in them, right?
so much emotion, so much lesser distraction, right?
Yeah,
It's just like, oh wow, it's just calm and nice
yeah.
and kind and sweet. Yeah, it depends on my intensity. As I had the reason I listen to music almost all the time, especially if I'm working something like that, is I when I was an undergrad, I lived in a room with six. It was six of us in the same room, three bunk beds, all six of us in the same room.
Six guys in the same
Six
room.
guys in the same room.
Oh.
It's a very small room.
This is
Uh,
undergrad.
this
Dude,
undergrad,
my
two
undergrad,
years,
like I had 2 years.
2 years of this.
In one
We
year,
wanted it though. We wanted it, but yeah, go
you
on.
wanted to stay
We
with.
wanted this. Oh my, it's so much
Right?
fun. Yeah.
We'll cover that in a future
Okay.
episode.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack over there.
Probably.
For me, like 1 year, I stayed with like one other guy. Like, I don't think I ever heard of six guys staying.
Sure.
That sounds like a prison cell.
It's it was really fun. It was really fun. It was really fun.
Okay,
But
continue your story. Continue
okay.
your story.
So there were six of us, right? So it's not all of us did not sleep in the night. There'd always be two guys awake. So whenever you woke up, you'd always have somebody to talk to, something like that. But let's say you do want to study, right? These guys are very distracting. You can't just be like, hey guys, tomorrow's the exams. Exams are for everyone. So everyone just shut up and study. You can't say that.
Yeah,
Because
right.
people are always getting distracted. People are talking. So I had my noise canceling headphones. I just put that in. keep my volume at max and or not max, but like pretty high, so I couldn't hear anything anyways. On top of the noise canceling, and just study. I definitely every 10 minutes I get distracted. I just remove my headphones. They'd already be talking. I just join in. It was a lot of fun. You could go to the library if you wanted to study or other stuff, but I love my room and my roommates, and it was so much more fun studying there. Doing anything in the room was especially when everyone was there was so much more fun. But that's why I started listening to music,
Yeah.
or that's one of the reasons I listen to music.
You're trying to like, you know, like
Shut out
shut out the world.
outside. Yeah,
Like
exactly.
be in your own little world.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Okay, what about TV shows? Right? So like I feel like it's similar type of vibes, right? So like sometimes first question, right? Like do you ever rewatch TV shows?
All the time. I actually feel a lot more comfortable rewatching shows than starting new ones because they're because they're there's as I say certain feelings, right? You listen to some music. Why do you re-listen to songs? Because
There's short commitment though, right?
there's
Like 3 or 4 minutes maximum.
right.
And you're right though. Actually, that's a good point. Like one time, sometimes like when I find like a song that I'm really into,
Mhm.
I'll listen to the same song on repeat for like maybe the entire week.
Exactly. I do that all the time. My friends hate me, but I do that all the time. Okay, so
But TV shows, right? Like I mean, in my case, right, I try not to rewatch TV shows because there's
sure,
so many TV shows out there. So
sure,
I'm trying to like cover everything, right? And
exactly.
there's only like certain TV shows that I will rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
For example, How I Met Your Mother, the first show I ever binge watched,
Mm-hmm.
I must have rewatched that probably 3 or 4 times so far.
It's one of my favorite
Start
shows.
to end.
It's one of my favorite
That's
shows of
one
all
reason
time.
we connected,
That
right?
is true. I do want to talk about How I Met Your Mother more in detail, but yes, I do. Before we get there, I do rewatch a lot of TV shows, a lot of anime, right? Like there's certain moments, you know. I do think the first time you watch a movie or TV show, you get that. I like TV shows better because you have a lot more build up before
Character development.
character development. Yeah, you get to explore not just one person who's the protagonist, but also the antagonist, the villain,
And the side
the
characters.
side characters.
Yeah.
They have their own backstories. It's cool. It's nice to know where everyone's coming from. You're able to relate to them more, kind of stuff. But I do, I do, I do rewatch because I want this. I see this. It's like you listen to certain music, you get really hyped up. You watch certain TV shows or certain fight scenes, and you're like, oh my god, that animation, that action.
That's actually a good point. Like sometimes when you listen to the same song again, maybe you didn't hear that lyric correctly, right?
Exactly.
And like it hits you differently, and it changes the whole meaning of the song. Sometimes.
Exactly. There's that stuff, right? When I was listening to Shape of You, is that the first few weeks I was listening to it
Yeah.
was just, I was just listening to the song and it felt nice and stuff. But I would have these certain phases when suddenly the entire song would zone out and I just listen to the drums. And I'd be like, wow, it's just the same beat over and over again. Or
Yeah.
I just listen to the like piano and I'd be like, wow, it's the same notes. Now it's one octave, different, higher or lower. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, and like they blend like
And then
like different parts of the song together. It's like Broadway songs. We like recently watched a
Yeah.
Broadway musical, and one of the things about Broadway I really love is that like they'll like towards the end they'll bring like different elements of different songs early in the play and mash it together and gives you goosebumps every
Exactly.
time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's the same with TV shows. One, if I have a few hours, right? The first time I'm watching it for the story, I'm watching it for different reasons. But the next time I'm watching it just because I feel comfortable. If I have 2 hours and I want to watch something, I know when I watch a show, which is already good, I'm gonna feel comfortable and I know it's happy, right? Whereas if I commit to something else, and if it's not as
If
cool
it's
as I
not,
thought,
yeah,
if it's disappointing, then I feel like I kind of wasted 2 hours, and I'm like, oh, it's worth it.
you never get the 2 hours back in your life.
Yeah. So I wait for a bunch of my friends or
Recommendations, basically.
recommendations. Yeah.
Yeah.
If a lot of people recommend the same thing to me, I'd be like, oh, maybe it is worth giving it a shot. Something like that. That's when I start watching new TV shows. I also take opinions from the internet and other stuff. Right. It doesn't have to be friends. I do have my taste, but I was gonna say, but one more thing with rewatching TV shows is certain times. Okay, let's say there's a show, right? There's two people who are best friends, and then after 20 episodes, you find out the best friend was the bad guy, right?
Oh yeah.
And then when you rewatch that show,
It's like the
now you're
hints are
looking,
there. Yeah, the hints.
yeah, the hints are there, and
Yeah.
it's so much cooler. So rewatching gives you a whole different meaning or a different story to it.
Dude, Mr. Robot. Have you seen Mr. Robot?
I actually watched 6 episodes and stopped. No,
You stopped? Okay.
It was so.
Okay, we won't spoil it first. But there's a huge spoiler at the end. I don't know if you know it or not.
I don't
Okay, good. Like let's
know.
avoid it. But like it changed the entire first season.
I see, I see.
But
Oh, that's how. Have you seen Dexter?
yes, yes,
Oh, Dexter's like that because you you know Dexter's actually one of the shows which I did not like. My friend kept
really,
recommending it to me,
yeah,
and I didn't like it because I'd watched the first few episodes and it was so slow, and I didn't like it.
right,
And I forced myself to watch it through. I
yeah,
was like, I'm gonna watch one season, I'm gonna stop.
yeah,
And those last 3 minutes or 4 minutes, right? The entire show's flipped inside out, and you're like, oh my god, that is so cool. Everything has a new meaning.
yeah,
And this happens in, I want to say, every odd or every other season in Dexter. The delivery, the impact of the last 5 minutes is really really good. Some seasons are pretty okay, but I did start watching. I ended up watching all of Dexter just because those last 5 minutes in every season felt so worth it to me.
yeah.
Most of them.
I think like okay, let's go back to How I Met Your Mother.
Okay,
Right, I think like we can talk a long time about How I
we
Met Your
can.
Mother.
Yeah,
I think that show honestly helped me realize a lot of like social cues in life. You know, like I think earlier in like in the high school, like middle school time, like I would be a little bit more of an introvert,
sure.
right? Because I wouldn't really understand like how people like socialize or whatever.
Yeah,
And then like watching like shows and stuff, like it made me realize like it's not really that complicated, right?
exactly.
It's like you're just like be yourself and like it's fine.
I know exactly. I think that's kind of the cool thing about TV shows because people especially are super afraid. If you want to talk to somebody new, somebody on the street, how do you make friends? Honestly, it's super tricky. So but when you watch all these TV shows, like it's just, oh, certain people become roommates or people become friends, or they're just like, hey, do you want to join us for drinks? And suddenly somebody's like, yeah, they do join them for drinks, right?
That's exactly how I
And
Met Your Mother started, right? Just, like,
exactly.
random people who became like lifelong friends.
Yeah. And sometimes people say no, but they show that in the TV show as well. So it's okay to get a no.
Yeah,
you know that you don't have to get a yes.
yeah,
Life isn't perfect.
yeah.
And
You don't have to like think so hard about it, right? Like the key is not to think so hard about
yeah,
it. And then on top of that, it's like okay, now that you watch this, it's another thing you can relate to with someone with. Right?
exactly.
It's like, okay, how you watch How I Met Your Mother? Like, okay,
Exactly.
almost
So,
every single group conversation I've been in, right? Like sometimes when there's nothing else to talk about, you always talk about, have you seen this TV show? Oh,
right.
I watched that TV show. What about this TV show?
Yeah.
SpongeBob? You watch SpongeBob? Oh,
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think, let's say you're meeting somebody new and both of you have seen a show,
Yeah,
that kind of feels like both of you have spent 10 seasons together already.
exactly. Yeah,
And suddenly there's that bond, and you guys start talking about that, and you guys start connecting, and then that diverges into more stuff, and you guys find more topics to talk about. It's an easy icebreaker. Have you seen the show? I've seen the show. And then boom,
the
suddenly,
more obscure it is, the more like like
sure.
closer you feel, right?
I remember you were talking to one of our friends recently, and you were like, have you seen the show Travelers? And you said
Travelers.
yes, and suddenly you were like, no, no way, I never thought you
Yeah,
would watch that.
he's really into sci-fi. I'm
Yeah.
really into sci-fi shows because like it really, like I'm really into technology and the
Mhm.
future of technology. I'm a tech optimist, right?
Mhm.
And sci-fi like really like turns my gears about
Sure.
like okay, what is possible, right?
Sure.
Like time travel, like that's so
Right.
cool if it is possible, right? And Travelers in particular was about
Mhm.
that, right? It's
Yeah.
like sentient AI. Like the
Sure.
future is like planning out different things and
Mhm.
like sending people back, whatever, right? And I didn't think anyone else would watch that show.
I watched the first episode after I listened to you guys talk.
Really?
I didn't like it. I tell you guys that much. So, but getting back to How I Met Your Mother, there's also, I think, just because I watched How I Met Your Mother when I was in high school as well, it kind of shaped the way I look at love.
Right, that
You know,
entire show is about love, right?
yeah,
It's literally
yeah,
How I Met Your
yeah,
Mother. The father spends way too long like introducing the mother. First of all, we only get like 2 seasons of the mother out
one
of like
season,
only one season.
one season, because in the last part, one season they just show
They
her
just
at the
show
end.
in the last
Yeah,
episode, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Out of like what 10 seasons?
Out of 10, nine
Nine
seasons, nine
seasons,
seasons.
right? I mean, it was worth it, but
It's
still,
totally worth it.
like there was like so much build up to it, right?
Right. Yeah, but it's like, I think it's like he says, it's not the story of how I met your mother, it's the story of how I had to become who I had to become to meet your mother, right? Because
Actually, yeah, it's a good
yeah,
point. Because the main character's name is Ted Mosby. Him in the first season may not have gotten along with the mother.
exactly. And and over the course of time, he evolves, he develops, he becomes better, and then when he does meet the mother, he's kind of perfect for the mother. But
He had to go through life to be ready for the mother.
exactly,
And
but
that's like so profound, right?
exactly,
Because like right now, right? Like if we meet someone, right? Maybe we're not ready to meet them.
exactly. I was gonna say maybe we also have to go through our lives to become who we have to become
Exactly.
in order to meet our people,
Yeah.
right? Our partners, and
Yeah.
maybe it's worth it, right? The wait is going to be worth it. That's what he that's what that show makes us feel, and that's why it's one of my favorite shows, because
Yeah.
every episode he says something profound, and I really related to it, especially as a kid.
Yeah.
And I think when you relate to something as a kid, TV show, right, I think it kind of stays with you. it,
Yeah.
it becomes a part of you. These are the friends you don't have in reality, but they're there,
Yeah, like
you know.
I remember when we talked about it one time, you were like saying like, "Oh, I don't have anyone like Barney in my life," right?
Right.
Barney is the guy in the show who's like always coming up to the main characters like, "Tonight's gonna be legendary,
Yeah,
right? We're gonna like suit up, we're gonna go to the bar, we're gonna like meet all these people. It's gonna be so cool."
meet
And
Mitsura.
actually, yeah, what if something you're just like be in a suit for
Oh, it's gonna be so cool.
this?
But yeah, like it's so cool. Like all these people, there's these five people in the show, and then
Yeah.
they meet every episode, and it's so fun, their lives. And it kind of makes you think, oh, why don't I have these friends, right?
Right, like you want
Why
your
don't
life to be kind of like that sometimes.
Yeah, you do. And
And sometimes it is like that, right? Sometimes it's like it's like so cool. Some days it's like, oh, it's like a
exactly,
TV show.
exactly. And I think over the course of time, I could totally see how my life's getting closer to that, or it
Yeah,
feels more fun. But there have definitely been days where I'm like, oh, why doesn't my life feel like that? Why can't it be like that? But the truth is, you kind of need to get there.
yeah.
It's not just like, oh, it happened in the show, it's gonna happen to me at the snap of a finger.
Like I mean, we realize that this show is like very dramatized, right?
Yes,
But at the same time, it's very grounded too.
yes,
Like one of the most like touching part of that show was when Ted was sitting in the bar and he's like, recollecting all the memories he had in the bar.
right,
But meanwhile, his friends, they're married now, they have a kid now.
yeah,
The other two friends are dating now, so they're having like, some like
hmm,
time together. And he's just alone at the bar
yeah,
drinking his beer, right? And he's sitting there and like thinking about it, thinking about his future. That's how our life is sometimes, right? Sometimes
yeah,
we're not, constantly partying every night.
yeah,
Sometimes we're just by ourselves in front of a TV, maybe playing the PS5 or something, right?
yeah,
And just
yeah,
like, just chilling. And I'm thinking about like, wow, like
exactly.
there's something to do.
I think that show really taught us about, and I'm pretty sure other shows as well, just teaches us that life has its ups and downs.
Exactly. Yeah.
After all of that, just like he's a sci-fi show. He watches a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of anime because when I was a kid, I started watching anime, and anime is definitely also extra dramatized.
It really is.
But
Yeah.
but I kind of like it because you're not constrained to like real actors or real sets and
Or
stuff
even
like that.
animation, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you could, like, the author could just draw anything and could imagine anything, and it
Yeah.
becomes true. So the story isn't really constrained by real elements. So I started watching anime, and I really did learn a lot of life lessons from Naruto, One Piece. Bunch.
Naruto is the one anime that I watched so far, like start to end. And Death Note, because of you, I've been watching that. And like,
Recently.
there's a lot of like stuff that like is interesting in that too. Like it like explores different parts of like human
Sure.
psychology and like why people react different ways, right?
Mhm.
Like in that show, it's about like getting like the superpower to like kill anyone you want to,
Exactly.
with like writing their name in a book. Like
Exactly.
what would you do with that power, right? That's what that show explores.
Exactly.
And like we talked about that because I was talking about if AI becomes sentient, right?
Hmm.
What would it do? And like there's like some bridges between like different like topics,
Right.
like
Exactly.
really really profound topics.
Hmm. And yeah, I think one of the things I learned from the show One Piece is that it's the character is always free. He always does what he wants. He doesn't really he's not really constrained by society or friends or anything else, right? In the end, he wants to be free. Freedom. That's all he's looking for. And that kind of made me realize that as much as there are constraints in the real world, I it made me think that if I shouldn't feel shy to say things. If I am thinking something, I should say it. You know, it makes me want to be more free. Freedom being, I should be able to, you know, oh, apologies for that, but just I just want to be free. Um, that's what that says. What are we doing here?
Stop it and continue, maybe.
Oh, I think it's because I'm getting a call. Yes. Should be open in three, two, one. Should be open. Thank you. Okay. Okay. I was thinking that would happen. Okay, is it back?
Yeah. Is it still recording?
I think it should still be recording.
Okay. We'll just cut that part
Or we're
out.
just gonna cut that part out. We just got our food, guys.
We just
but
got
anyways.
it. I mean, we don't
Uh,
have to cut that part out, but
we don't have to cut that
we
part.
probably should because
Okay.
it's like
Yeah, I mean,
cut it out.
you guys should order food. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. But yeah, it just made me realize that I want to be. I want freedom in my life. I don't. Yeah, I want to be free. I don't. It's a much more deeper topic. I want to say, but yeah, if I had to say it in one word, freedom. That's yeah. And I learned a lot. That's yeah, a lot of qualities.
Yeah, I think like there's so many things that that we are getting influenced by both by music and TV shows that we don't fully understand even, right?
Agreed.
Like like we talked a lot about like how even just listening to an instrument, right? Like can change different like emotions in
Mm-hmm.
yourself, right? And like sometimes I do it intentionally, but sometimes it happens unintentionally too.
Agreed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Um
I want to say these things have at this point in time, I think music and TV shows are really helping shape our lives for I want to say for the better.
yeah.
I want to say they've taught me a lot, and I think that applies to a lot of other people.
Yeah, it's basically like understand that like it's very powerful, right? And like I don't understand some people don't even listen to music, right? Like I don't
Right.
even understand those people.
I I can't imagine.
Or watch TV shows, right?
Right.
Like I mean,
People say it's people. Some people say
it's a
it's a
waste of
waste of
time.
time, right?
Okay, like for those people, right? Like okay, like they say like you're always like watching TV or like watching movies, right? And if you rewind it back, right, and those same people would say like you should read a book, right? Like
Right.
but if you rewind time back when before TVs existed, when only books was there, that's the only form of entertainment. Like parents back then will say like why are you constantly reading, right? Like go outside and play. You're like your mind is like non-reality,
Yeah,
right? This form of rhetoric has always been there, right?
I think so.
At the end of the day it's just like stories, right?
Right.
I like it with reading, it's like improving your literacy whatever, but like with movies and TV shows it's like engaging in a way, right? You're not totally turning your brain off and just like mindlessly watching consuming content.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like engaged in it,
Exactly.
right?
I do think, yeah, I do think when you watch a TV show, you should learn from it and not just watch it, right? I do think it happens passively, but I
Now
do think there's so much like when I was watching Suits, which is a show about lawyers, and
great show.
when I was watching, let's say, some other show, right, about doctors, something like that.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, Grey's Anatomy, Good Doctor, a bunch of others. But I feel like I wouldn't, as an engineer, I wouldn't really know how these professions work, how these jobs are.
The only
But
reason I know like the progression of a doctor's career is because of Grey's Anatomy.
exactly, that kind of stuff, and I think they really do teach stuff, right?
There are stuff that you can watch which are like totally meaningless, I feel
True.
like. Right?
Agreed,
But
agreed.
like I don't watch those things, so I
I
don't
don't.
know what they are.
Yeah, every show I watched, at least I've learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are shows where you get nothing, right? But yeah, I think I've always tried to learn something from the shows I've seen. Yeah. Okay. Also, I think we are hitting our mark. We're actually a little over 30 minutes at this
We're
point.
we're trying a new format. Like the first episode, we may or may not publish it. It's about making friends. It went to like it was well over an hour, maybe 2 hours. We're trying to do a format with 30 minutes now, so hopefully you guys can listen to it one sitting. Let us know in the comment section if you enjoy this format.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Two
Two
brown
brown
accents.
accents.